So, me and Rags have seen Captain Marvel. I
Rags and I.
believe Jay has. Billy, have you seen it? Is
4 times in theaters.
that real?
Really?
Yeah.
Like it?
It was fine. I like.
Have you
Were
seen
you
it
like
4
the-
times?
You saw
Oh,
it
yeah,
four,
no.
it's fine, so you saw it 4 times?
Okay, I had plans to watch it with Onision, but
Why?
I wanted to watch it before then, so I didn't get spoiled. So that I knew that whether I liked it or not, it was because I gave it a fair chance. So I watched it first, then I saw it with Onision, and then I went on two dates afterwards to it because girls pick movies.
Okay, all right. Well,
So you're a doormat, is what you're saying.
No, let's put it this way: I'll watch a shitty movie 4 times in theaters. It wasn't that bad. I wouldn't watch Wonder Woman 4 times in theaters. That was way fucking worse than Captain Marvel.
That's a take.
Oh, wow.
well, yeah, and as chat pointed out, 3 watches means wasn't bored. 4 watches means fine now. I have to figure out
Yeah,
the law
exactly.
for 1 and 2
Exactly.
watches
Oh, I saw Blockers 4 times in theaters because the theater I go to has really good.
I'm just like more like taken aback by the fact you know Onision?
Yeah, it's my buddy.
Yeah,
Damn.
he's a piece of shit.
Oh shit.
now. This video is called "The Real Reason Nick Fury Didn't Page Captain Marvel," and so it's
Well-
obviously going to be referencing all the
Oh
times
yeah,
he
with
could
the,
have.
because-
with the
that's
magic
because-
galactic
As the-
pager that Captain Marvel put together.
Because
Didn't
they
Kevin
decide
Feige-
that he
Kevin
had that
Feige-
until recently.
Kevin Feige, like, he talked about this already.
I think
He
that's
said
going
the
to be
real
in this.
reason.
That's going to be in this video. Yeah, well,
Okay.
even Kevin Feige isn't immune to criticism, so we're going to see how valid this is. And then Wolf's the only one who hasn't seen the movie, so the obvious information he only needs is that pager is given to Fury in '95. So why didn't he use it in all of the apocalyptic events of the MCU? We're going to find out.
As the post-credit scene in Avengers Infinity War and the final few minutes of her recently released solo movie have proven, Captain Marvel is like the Kim Possible of the Marvel Cinematic
no.
Universe. Call her, beep her.
No. No.
Also, this music, Jay, you familiar with this track? The
Oh, yeah, this-
da-da-da. It's like in every fucking Looper video.
Yeah, I've seen one of their videos before. I'm familiar with this music.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen enough of their videos.
If you want to reach her. Major Marvel fans know the story.
Wait, is-
Shield agent Nick
Is Captain
Fury
Marvel
paged
like Kim Possible because her live action movie was disappointing?
Yes, that is the connection he was drawing.
Ooh.
So wait, he kept this pager for like 25 years, and at no point he thought maybe we should upgrade to something a
No,
little bit better.
She created it. She created the page.
Yeah, Captain Marvel created the
I'm okay
galactic
with him not upgrading
pager
it.
device because
She went to Radio
Captain Marvel-
Shack.
Yeah,
Oh,
she could do
but-
fucking anything
okay.
at any time better than anyone else ever could, ever.
Well, I didn't know she
Why-
made it. Okay.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
did.
why-
She
why would
made
he
it.
fuck-
Special.
Why would he fuck with her Kree technology?
So that's fine. That's not the
I don't
problem.
know. I haven't watched the movie. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about her.
Wolf,
So
talking about
fucking
things
bad,
you
Wolf.
don't know.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
I was
Wow.
asking a question.
Willow's
Jesus.
better than Lord of the Rings.
Quit
No, it's not.
mansplaining.
Captain Marvel at the tail end of Infinity War after Thanos snapped his Infinity Stone-powered fingers and killed half of all life in the universe.
Sorry if you guys haven't seen Infinity War.
In Captain Marvel, set many years earlier, Carol Danvers hands Fury his pager back before she leaves Earth to help the Skrulls locate a new homeworld, telling him she made extra special enhancements to his trusty communications device and to only use it to contact her when there's a, quote, real emergency happening. Thanos decimating the universe is certainly a real emergency. No one denies this. But what about all the other crises that have gone down in the MCU? Did they not necessitate a call to
See, here's
Captain
the question
Marvel?
about Endgame I have, and maybe this will be answered in Endgame, but I kind of doubt it. It's like Captain Marvel will be seeing wherever she is half of all people disintegrating, and then she's going like, "Oh, I'm being paged. Better go check that out."
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. Why would she
Well,
go to
the page. The page. If this was the first time she was paged by Fury, then she would know it was very necessary that she goes and checks it out after
How?
20 years.
Why?
Maybe,
Or 15
maybe
years.
nothing
She
has,
wouldn't know that.
maybe
No,
nothing
she
has gone
wouldn't.
down on Earth since then. You know, maybe it's just been
Yeah.
like
What
chilled
if,
out.
what if Fury was like, we got this Doctor Doom guy, he's trying to kill us. She's like, literally Thanos just wiped off. He's like, yeah, but Doctor Doom. You can do that later. It's
Well, she can still go check, right? Like,
I'm hoping
Well,
they
you know,
will account for that.
As
Like,
fast
she'll
as she can travel through space, you'd think it'd be like a minor inconvenience.
I mean, I'm also
but-
surprised that the Kree are unaware of Thanos, considering they
yeah,
reach.
it's very strange that if
surely
you
as
control
well.
a galactic empire, you'd be aware of Thanos and the Chitauri going
It goes
through
to
and
different
decimating
planet
every
systems,
planet.
wiping out half the
but
lives.
Ronan worked for Thanos, and Ronan might have fed them intel that Thanos was just fine.
How do you
'cause-
hide that?
How do you hide what?
How do you hide the fact that he's going from planet to planet, killing half of all life?
Yeah, people actually
Kill
know
the-
it. Like,
half
this
of-
is
half
real.
of all-
witnesses.
Yeah, like there are
Okay.
survivors. Like half of the people are still
So,
alive.
He
to, like,
stopped. He
report about
stopped
this
killing
stuff.
half the planets though because he had a new plan, right?
No, he
No,
didn't.
he's doing.
plan
He
was to-
does
no,
it in
he was doing
Infinity
it
War.
At the beginning,
In the
of
beginning
the
of
movie,
Infinity War, he kills half of Thor's people.
Yeah.
Well, that was just to prove a point.
Yeah, he proves it by doing it.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm thinking like Captain Marvel receives the page saying half of our people have disappeared, and she would just think, yeah, it's happening fucking everywhere, mate.
Well, the
I'll
Yeah,
page,
get to you
the
later,
page didn't
maybe.
say anything. The page
Did it
didn't
not?
say anything. The
Well, that's a
page
good point,
just said
actually.
that he needed her.
So
And
yeah,
it was
it's
a
just gonna
beacon.
be-
It was a beacon. She has
Yeah.
to show up to be like, what's wrong? Like, obviously, maybe Earth knows more now, and maybe she's been back to Earth because she has ties there.
She has
Maybe
been back
she-
to Earth.
Yeah, right.
How do we know that?
Credits.
Well, Kevin Feige
Oh, yeah.
said that, you know, he said that we don't know that she hasn't been back to Earth. We don't know that she hasn't been paged before. We just haven't focused a movie on it. Just now we're figuring out the pager exists the last two movies, but this movie was based in the 90s.
Which
so,
are all
like, it's been there this-
concessions because it currently doesn't make sense.
Oh, it's gonna if the like Captain Marvel 2 is like Nick Fury paging her in the early 2000s, it's gonna get so fucky with like what constitutes
Yeah.
an emergency.
But well,
really
we'll let
hope so.
we'll let this video set that up.
Wait
The,
until
I want Captain
Infinity
Marvel to be
War to
set in
page her.
space.
We finally know the answers to all those questions. Sort of. Movie news site /film did the world a favor when they asked Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige in a recent interview why Fury didn't contact Captain Marvel sooner. Like, say, when that gigantic wormhole barfed up a bunch of aliens over Manhattan in the original Avengers.
Yeah, an intergalactic alien invasion. You know,
You'd think.
Well,
think.
you would
think.
But you wouldn't think that because he put together
Oh.
the Avengers Initiative to deal with it, so he wouldn't have to call her.
They were
This was a
literally-
test run. This
They were
was a test run
seconds
for
away
his
from
Avengers.
nuking one of the most populated cities in America.
Yeah.
And he thought his people could handle it, and he had to trust his people because he didn't want to have to. He didn't want to have to rely on some space woman.
And yet he does in Endgame.
Yeah.
Well, because he was gone now. He's like, well, I'm about to fucking float away. Now I'm going to call
no,
her.
he
Wait,
was
because I
going.
won't
No,
even
he
be
was
here.
going to get the thing before
Yeah,
he
he
started.
called
to
it before he
disappear.
poofed.
Yeah.
I think he felt it coming, right? Because before Spider-Man poofed, he was like, "Oh, Mister,
That's Spider-Man.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so
You can
good."
tell the future though.
Spider-Man can tell the future.
Yeah, but well, maybe you're right.
That event was so bad that the World Security Council launched a nuclear bomb at the city. Nick Fury had to run outside and fire an actual bazooka at one of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s own planes to try to stop it. That's some rough stuff. If Captain Marvel is the most powerful character in the MCU, and if she's apparently strong enough to help take down Thanos, why hasn't she been spoken about in connection with the Avengers until now?
You know the real reason is that she's a
Why
retcon,
indeed.
but we want to.
Yeah. The real reason is because they just fucking made her up in the right before the finish line of the series.
Well,
Is the reason
this is why he waited to call her, because he waited till they lost. He waited till Plan A.
No, he waited because she
lost.
didn't exist.
They hadn't
before
even
this.
lost technically. The
People were flittering away.
He doesn't know
They were being
anything about
halved.
why though. He's just like,
Yeah.
Why not?
he just-
He's Shield. He has
he
Shield
saw a few-
connections.
He
His
wouldn't
shield's
know.
gone.
How would he know?
But they showed the scene where he was in the car. Some people disappear, and he's like, "Well, now is the time."
Why hasn't she helped them out? According to Feige, there are two explanations. The first one is that Fury may not have considered anything that went down before Infinity War a genuine emergency.
bullshit.
Bullshit.
We got this handled. He knew that.
Oh,
No, I
It's
like
a
what he said.
galactic alien invasion.
I like that he said genuine emergency, as if an alien invasion is not a genuine.
What exactly are you saving
Or
this
that
call
time that
for?
an AI tried to destroy the entire
This
planet.
reminds me of fucking CinemaSins saying, why are they attacking the alien army?
Oh right,
Like,
yeah.
trying to destroy the one.
And the thing is too
Based on
is like if he used the space pager and she came and he was like, "Oh yeah, we were being invaded by an intergalactic alien empire. They almost destroyed us. We barely survived." I doubt she'd be like, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. She's that much of a cunt of a character." but I doubt that she would be like, "Oh
I
yeah,
don't have
that
to
was a
prove
waste of a
anything to
call."
you.
The scale of the chaos.
It took her a while
Aliens
to get here.
Invading Manhattan? Who cares? It's just one city, right? No big deal.
What?
Killer robots threatening total world domination? Psh, whatever.
Please tell
that
me
sounds
that's a
like
joke.
something
I'm sure he's joking.
Tony Stark should be able to fix with a quick call to
He's
his
very
IT
literal.
guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, it sounds like a joke, but it's the same as the point he's already been making.
He's
so-
being. Well, I don't. Well, we're reasonable.
It's like he's
people who
sarcastically
understand the
agreeing with
movies.
himself.
I'm sure he's joking. It's fine.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning
This
it
is a
off
good
and on
show.
again?
Nick Fury actor Samuel L. Jackson backed Feige on this particular explanation, chatting with IGN about why Fury hasn't called Captain Marvel before.
We finally have an emergency that I feel warrants her presence.
I saw a helicopter crash and some people disappear, but the intergalactic alien empire invasion wasn't enough.
He
I'm
saw
sorry,
Maria Hill
we keep
disappear.
referencing the Avengers one. Age of Ultron's way worse. He came an inch away from destroying humanity. And Fury was there for the whole thing, by the way.
Yeah, but just destroying humanity isn't a genuine emergency.
Didn't
Maybe
Nick
when
Fury,
shit-
like show up only about halfway through the movie at
Yeah, he shows up.
Hawkeye's farm too?
Yep. He could have called it.
He had plenty of time to call her.
But he doesn't need to call her yet, right? This is a situation where he needed to call her.
That's you know that
Literally-
retroactively that he didn't need to call her.
The simplest
that's
reveal
that's one
for
of those
this.
post hoc rationalizations that he couldn't have done at the time.
I think when you head Shield, you trust your instinct
Shield's
on when
gone.
to make those calls.
It's
Yeah.
gone at that point.
The simplest way to explain this is in Endgame, when she shows up or like when he's revived or whatever, say have him have a line to Captain Marvel saying, "Oh, so you show up this time, do you?"
Yeah, they have to do
Please.
something for that because I'm sure the Russos even recognize that it's pretty dumb.
Like, this is something that's unprecedented in,
Helicopter crashes and
It's
people
not
disappearing.
unprecedented. They tried to destroy everyone last time.
And then the time before that, they tried to destroy everyone.
how do you fight that?
Feige's second explanation
He's treating that as if Fury's aware of the entire situation, the fact that this is happening across the universe.
I mean,
Yeah, but from
Fury would be the one to know if anybody.
No, he
knew.
wouldn't.
He's not connected
Why
to
would-
anything.
Why
He's
does
with
he know?
Remember,
How
he's
is
How is he not connected? He's probably part of some news groups. Like he's probably got a Twitter
3 seconds
DM
ago.
group.
This
He's got a
literally has been
Twitter
happening
group.
for 10 seconds.
Captain America was on Twitter in the DM like, "Oh shit, Bucky just disappeared," and then Spider-Man replied with, "I think I'm about to go too," and then
That's what I really wanted was that the end credit scene was she's holding the pager and then she turns to dust. Captain Marvel. Like, oh well.
Thank God she's gone. It was worth it. It was worth it.
well, the idea that he doesn't know anything is it's just a big of a leap. As
No,
thinking that he does know
I'm
something.
highlighting
You see the scene,
if he should have called her previously, and I think that's reasonable. I think most people
Maybe
agree.
he should have. Maybe because he trusts his instincts and he
It's
and he
not
believes
just-
like there's a scene in Captain Marvel where he's like, sometimes you got to make the choices that are the wrong choices, and not calling her might have been the wrong choice inevitably, but it might have built up that she would then know when he did call her that it was very serious and she would get there quicker. You know.
What?
The other problem is that there's no, like, if you guys remember, Fury says that a lot of the decisions they make in Avengers is because they met Thorne and Loki. They were like, now we know we're not alone. It's like, you knew that in 95, but okay. So there's little pieces of evidence that there's such a retcon. But, Kevin Feige and Samuel Jackson aren't going to go, yeah, that's stupid. It doesn't make sense. You're right. It's like, no, they're going to say something like, oh, no, you just think
there's a
about it.
little
I mean, another
hairier.
one, and there's another retcon as well in it that they call Shield instead of, because
Yep.
isn't it in the first, the first
Strategic
Iron Man,
Homeland Security, and he's like,
they
"You gotta
call
get
it
a
the
new
whole
name for
thing, they
that."
don't have,
But there's gonna be retcon in a production this large, 22 films.
Yeah, but that doesn't
right?
mean the retcons are
over
good.
10 years.
Yeah,
Well,
you can
yeah.
do retcons well. You can. Just be
Yeah,
careful.
but it's Marvel. It's like this is popcorn film cinema at its highest.
The way to
Right?
do this is to just introduce Captain Marvel in a different context and not do it like this. And then you wouldn't have any of these problems, and it could still be just as good.
The restriction they had was they needed to space the two movies in between Endgame and Infinity War as past movies because you couldn't give any build, right? You had to do
had a whole
Yeah,
story on her alien planet, and then she is called in,
Yeah,
like she's aware of
that
Thanos.
could have worked. That definitely could have worked, but they had to make those choices. They were within they were constricted in their choice, so that they made this choice.
Wait, you say they were constricted by themselves?
Well, because they can't do a movie that's in between Infinity War and Endgame, right? They have to give us 2 movies that deviate from.
They decided to do something they couldn't do, and because they couldn't do it, that means it's okay.
That's like writing yourself into a hole and then
they
giving
kind of
yourself
were
a bad
written into a hole,
explanation out
right?
of your own hole.
Yeah,
No,
we're
wrote
saying they
themselves into
shouldn't
that
have done
hole.
that to begin with, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, you know.
Here. According to the interview, Feige discussed Fury's super pager, saying, "How do you know he never hit it? How do we know he never pushed it before? We've never seen him push it before. That doesn't mean he
Oh
never
my god,
did."
he's using a Patrick Willems
So
argument.
we know he didn't push it because Captain Marvel isn't in any of those movies and no one's aware of her existence.
I
But
agree
not
that
in
this
those
could-
movies.
You could put something in to justify that being the case, like she just
She
was
wiped
busy
everyone's
the other
memories
times.
whenever she comes in.
But you guys,
It's
you
like
guys,
she didn't show up. She was fucking like imprisoned
At this
somewhere.
point,
and
you guys are completely ignoring that he created the Avengers Initiative so he wouldn't have to call her, and he put the faith in the Avengers Initiative so that he would be right at getting them all together.
No, it's
Just
not so that she
giving
wouldn't
them the
have to call
opportunity.
her. It's not so that he wouldn't have to call her. It's so that he wouldn't have to depend on her. Like if she didn't
Exactly.
show up,
Exactly.
That doesn't
And
it
since-
doesn't,
Yeah,
he doesn't
but-
try to call her. Like
Yeah,
that's
the
so
whole
if
point
she-
of that argument is that it relies on the idea that Nick Fury is so out of character, overconfident when he's clearly looking at a scenario where he needs more help. Like if you're
is
about
it
to
out of
watch
character though?
Yes, it is. He's
Because
not
he was
stupid.
overconfident around that cat.
Well,
He was over.
Rags
he's
is arguing
I'm
that
sorry,
his-
but people in the chat are calling you Major Lee. Like it's.
I'm sure Rags is arguing that his desire to save humanity should overcome any sense of pride that he can defend Earth himself with his team.
You know, they were moments away from having the world just like destroyed.
Like,
Yeah,
And
but they
he's
did-
like,
they
still not
saved
pressing the
it,
button.
so he was right. Yeah, because
that's called
he.
a post hoc rationalization.
Okay.
That's bad.
That's bad.
That's a bad. That's bad.
okay.
It's bad to have
Okay.
those. Those are not good. You can't
Okay.
justify the reasoning for something that came before it based on knowledge that was received after the event.
That's fair enough.
Do you know that?
But- but-
does that make sense?
Unless he knew that he was the Avengers could do it. He had a hunch.
He didn't know.
Well, this is the thing. He had
Well,
to
but
actually.
he had to-
he had to warn
he had to assume.
Stark that the place was about to get nuked.
Yeah.
The Age of Ultron thing. Like, aside from the fact that movie's pretty badly written anyway, the fact that they came. Like, I believe if there's a lot of things that had to slot together in order for that to happen, but Age of Ultron, like, he's prevented from launching Earth's nukes because Jarvis, quote unquote, doesn't let him. Like, that's all we get in the movie. It's like, that's how close we came to utter annihilation, is that apparently Jarvis stopped him. It's like, oh, okay. So, like, Fury not calling Captain Marvel to me is just dumb. And
Yeah,
I thought they were going to
weighing-
answer that in the movie. I thought they were going to explain that she says something like, you can only use it when it lights up or something. Just some crappy excuse for why he couldn't possibly use it in certain scenarios, but they don't. They just say, use it in emergencies. Thank you.
That's the cool thing about having like 38 movies in a series is you can just answer that later, right? Like we don't have to answer all the questions.
Why
They
push
might
the
answer it later,
question?
yeah, it's not necessarily they could answer it in Endgame, and if they do, then yeah, that it's fine. Like if it turns out in Endgame, oh, I called you for Ultron and for like the Chitauri invasion. Why didn't you show up? And she's like, oh, I was imprisoned by the Kree. Then everything
he
would
was
be
just-
sorted. But
Just assume she would
They,
listen
they,
this
could, they
time.
could answer. They could answer that question in Captain Marvel 2. They could answer that like years from now,
yeah,
right?
they can.
Like these movies,
They might.
These movies
but
aren't all.
We don't have that
they don't.
information right now. We have to operate on the
Exactly.
information that we have, and
Or
right
we
now
have to
we
wait
don't
like
have.
patient. We have to wait like patient people who read comic books and wait month to month to read the comic books.
No,
but like
You can't have it all right now. That's not how
we
comic
don't
books
need.
have ever worked.
We don't need to have it all. We need to have a justifiable reason for the
Well, I was
things.
about to
that we
say, surely by that logic, there could never be a mistake because you could justify it with a future thing. Like, even to the...
That's
for example...
that's the beauty of creative writing, right? Like,
No,
you
that's
can-
the
you can fix
sloppy
everything.
laziness of what people think
Okay,
is good writing.
okay.
That's
Okay, well,
bad.
I'm not saying this is good writing. I'm saying this is comic book
You're
film.
defending it
This
like
isn't
it
Paul
is.
Thomas. I'm defending it like it is a comic book film. You're defending it like it's Paul Thomas Anderson.
No, I'm defending it like it needs to be a piece of work that makes sense. And that's not exactly a really high bar.
It's not a low bar either. Like this
They've
is just
created
a
a
movie.
question that has unsatisfactory supporting information by what we've seen in all these films.
I feel like we're
I'm
getting
very
close to it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Look, it's the fact is they could have done something. They chose not to. They gave up on it. They were just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And besides, these
because
are that they're
it's already
giving.
like a 2-hour plus film. Like they don't have room for single.
It's like a throwaway line.
This would be better if they told me why she wasn't here before. And it's like it doesn't need to be.
No,
there.
the point is that we know that she was created. She didn't exist as a character for all of this stuff.
So since you can't suspend your belief for a minute, the movie's ruined.
Disbelief.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
No, though she didn't exist. She was retconned in.
Okay.
Like, what if this does?
That's
ruin,
bad.
Like, if this ruins your suspension of
Dispatch.
if this ruins your deception of Decepticon, right?
Thank you. That's what I meant to say.
If this ruins your suspension of disbelief, you're not wrong because it is it's like a thing that is there. Like, I'm happy to accept that the explanation might come.
Yeah,
in
for example,
Endgame, right?
The eye
and
thing.
that would be an appropriate place to put it.
The eye thing with
But-
Fury, we could have Captain Marvel 2, and it begins with him, and he has 2 eyes, and then they're like, man, it's so good that it didn't actually hurt my eye, and I just thought that it did. You could have that as a retcon, but people would just be like, really? They did it with fucking Coulson dying. They brought him back to life, and they're just like, yeah, that's totally a thing now. He's not dead anymore. You're like,
Yeah.
These are the things that we just be like, these are so poorly done. It's so stapled
But
on.
That's happened in cinema and comic books and everything for so long. Though
That doesn't matter.
It's part of the
Yeah, we
trope.
still highlight them as being
That doesn't
poor.
excuse how bad it is.
Okay. If you're gonna hold it to this level of excellence, that's fine. But I'm not going to.
Well,
It's
don't
a
you think
fucking
it's
comic book movie.
significant,
All right, if you
though?
want to have
like-
extremely low standards, and I just want
I
to have
do.
things make sense.
Like, we're not
Okay.
talking about a character didn't have the same colored hat between scenes or something. We're talking about literally, like, something that would annihilate the stakes. If he called her at the beginning of Avengers and she came in, it's over. Loki gets beaten straight away.
Okay, and that would happen if everything worked in perfect favor. Movies aren't set up to just be
What do you
perfect.
mean what do you mean it worked in perfect favor? What do you mean by that?
If Loki could have been beat if Hulk was just right place, right time, and smashed him in the back of the fucking head when he wasn't looking, right?
That does happen.
Like we could, it does happen, and Captain Marvel does come and save the day, as we'll see in Endgame. But it isn't always that way. This is storytelling.
Slice and dice.
This is, I mean, it's some stories being told to some degree of quality.
The story is so good that we're talking about it right now. Even that's how good it is.
The Room is such a masterpiece of cinema that we're still talking about it.
That's true.
It is really
The
good.
Phantom Menace is such an amazing film. We all still remember it.
It's very good. I love that little boy.
The
Okay,
bombing of Pearl
maybe
Harbor
that-
was so wonderful that we all still
I
remember.
think we know where you're going now.
9/11 was definitely a good thing.
9/11 was
saw
just
him-
a trashy sequel to Pearl Harbor. It was
The
a cash
Holocaust is a lie.
grab. You can't say
Okay,
that.
maybe that's true. We never saw him page her, but there's a lot of things we never saw Nick Fury do. We never saw him get eaten by a shark, but it doesn't
What?
really make sense to
Wait, what?
accept that.
Wait, no,
well,
I'm going back.
confused now.
That's what. No,
What
he's
on
saying.
Earth was that argument.
Okay.
He's saying it's a ridiculous thing that never did happen, so we don't know that it didn't happen. It's a weird way to put it, but I think I follow what he's saying.
Maybe that's true. We never saw him page her, but there's a lot of things we never saw Nick Fury do. We
You
never
ever seen that
saw
was
him get
terrible?
eaten
It
by
don't
a
make sense
shark,
in the bar?
but it doesn't really make sense to accept that, well, perhaps he did. Anyway, it doesn't make too much sense.
Oh, I get it.
I follow.
I get it.
It makes enough
He's-
sense.
It's
You know,
weirdly worded though.
Yeah, like the
It's
fact
like
that Fury is
it's
alive.
Like we're lifting up a window in the back of the house as an escape route for our terrible decisions that we've made.
As I'm understanding it, he's saying the fact that Fury is alive means he didn't get eaten by a shark, and the fact that Captain Marvel didn't show up in Avengers page her then.
Yeah, and you could be like, well, you may have been eaten by a shark. You're like, I guess.
He could have been.
And then he
Yeah,
got
he
pooped
was
out and he was
swallowed whole and
fine.
he ran out to
I
the
s-
end and he pooped out.
I still think the best explanation they could give, and it would belong in Endgame, is she was like busy and he did page it, but they just didn't show it because, well, you know, she didn't
Well, you
exist
don't have
then.
to
You
show
could have had that be
everything
the
in
throwaway line. She could be like, call me if you're in an emergency, but I can't promise I'll always be there. She could say that.
But I mean, like that would just. I honestly feel like that would seem clunky, and if the line is included
Better
in
than
Endgame,
nothing.
that solves it. No,
Yeah,
but if the
I don't
line,
know if there's
if
a
the line is an
non-clunky
Endgame,
way
that'll
to
be better
fix
than
this.
nothing. You know.
Yeah, but I'd still. That's what I mean. I'd take it over the nothing.
I'll take clunky over nothing.
I'm saying it could still work out. We don't know. It hasn't worked out yet.
I mean, they could put
Exactly.
it. They could put
We
it in
don't
movie
know.
57, and we'd be like, well, at least they finally
But, like-
addressed that.
But like they were writing these ones at the same time, so it'd be a retcon at that point. It's like, you know, they knew what they knew what they wanted to do. They had their reason set up.
To speculate about the ins and outs of why Fury may or may not have called his BFF Captain Marvel over all these years. That's because Avengers Endgame, which will fly into theaters next month, will probably address Captain Marvel's whereabouts in the time between her solo film and the end of Infinity War.
We'll see.
Not only that, but it should also explain why the heck she didn't rush to the aid of Earth's mightiest heroes when they weren't feeling all that mighty. And hey, maybe she'll show off some of the pages Nick Fury did send her over all those years. Maybe he kept her up to date with those cool
maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
Star
hope
Wars on
because, you know.
Star Wars prequels she was missing while she was flying around in space.
Did Samuel L. Jackson ask for a purple lightsaber? You bet your ass I did.
Avengers Endgame opens in theaters on April 26th. Perhaps before then, Marvel will release a montage of all the times Fury tried and failed to get Captain Marvel to swoop in to save the day.
I doubt it.
A Marvel fan can dream. Check out one of our newest videos right here.
No.